Hi guys and girls, welcome back to my channel. I do hope you're doing well. Guys, we are here with another Scandals with Shan. As I say, at the moment I'm filming with the green screen. Will it show anything different? I don't know yet. I really don't know yet, so we're going to have to bear with it. As I say, if you saw last month, I think we done okay. It's just the transitions where I kind of just pop out and I'm like, surprise, we are on squeaky chair, guys. I don't know what's happening with this chair. I think it's ready for the knackers yard, but we're going to keep going with it. So this month is all about love. It's been Valentine's Day. Cupid's been about, and we're going to talk about narcissism. We are doing the total 360 of love. We spoke about red flags in Sit Down with Shan, and now we are going to be speaking about narcissism. So if there's anything that you want to get involved in, guys, whether that be a Sit Down with Shan, a Scandals, a mukbang, anything like that, my email is down below in the descriptions box. And what I say is drop me an email on there if you can send a photo, because I like to put a face to the name. And then what I will do every month when I do these big videos, I will send out an email, blind copy you all in, so everyone stays anonymous, and you can send in whatever you want to get involved in the video and it will all stay anonymous. If not, you can head over to my new Instagram of AllThingsShannonLeighxx, and that is another way I put the story post on. You can then DM me on there however you wish to do it if you want to get involved. But yes, I'm not going to ribbit rabbit because we've actually got quite a few to go on, and as I say, this month is narcissism, so I have my drink to hand. Everything's black theme here. We're very dark on this series, and let's get into the video. Right, so I have my trusty iPad to hand, and we've got quite a few on here, guys. So now I'm looking at this and I'm hoping the green screen works because I've actually got a shadow behind me, and I don't know how green screens work with shadows. So if there is no background behind me or it looks a little bit hazy, that is because there is a shadow from the light. I don't know how it works. I definitely tried to do this how I did last year, like with the lights on a dim and everything like that, but it just didn't work, guys. It just didn't work, I'm afraid. So we're gonna, it's all errors, it's all trial and error, right? Right, let's have a look. So one of you lovelies says, if a man accuses you of cheating, he's a cheater. I feel like this is a very common narcissistic view, because that's what we would all think. If someone is thinking you're doing the dirty, then it kind of means that they probably are. It's not always the case in circumstances, but 9 times out of 10, I think, what is it? It's like a guilty conscience, because you're playing a way you think the other is, and then, but then you never know, because they always say it's always the quiet one. So you just never know how it's going to go in this world. But there is quite a few speculations out there, my lovers. Had a 4-year relationship with the worst, and it's affected who I am 3 years later still. I'm so sorry that you are still being affected by it, my lovely. There is narcissists are just, I see through narcissists, and narcissists don't like people who see through them. So whether that be family, friends, relationships, family members, anything like that, I can read through a narcissist like anything, and it doesn't bother me to call people out on it. And if you call a narcissist out, they do not appreciate that, because for me, I think a narcissist never actually does recognize their faults. I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're actually going to Google what is a narcissist. Let's see what Google says a narcissist is. Narcissist. What is the actual meaning? So an overview, a narcissist can be a mental health condition in which people have unreasonably high sense of their own importance. They need and seek too much attention and want people to admire them. People with this disorder may lack the ability to understand or care about the feelings of others. My experience of narcissists is there is no acceptance of people's feelings. It's very much what they want goes, whether that be they want to say what they want to act how they want. And you know what? They won't take any accountability for it. But that's not the way that life works. And unfortunately, we're in a world that if you are along those lines of behaviour, not a lot of people are going to accept it. And not a lot of people are going to be okay with having to deal with stuff like that. So they say the behaviours of a narcissistic person includes the pattern of being self-centered, arrogant thinking and behaviour, with a lack of empathy and consideration for other people and the excessive need as admiration. Others often describe people with narcissistic behaviours as cocky, manipulative, selfish, patronising and demanding. Oh, that just sums it all up, doesn't it? I couldn't have put it better myself. I think there's no need for it, and you can feel your self-importance but still acknowledge where you've gone wrong. Whereas, as I say, with a narcissist, there is no acceptance of what they've done. It's kind of like, well, I did this because, and that's okay. No, it doesn't work like that, I'm afraid. You're still adults, and every adult is held accountable for their actions, and you can't pass off stuff like that because they feel they need to be heard. I'm sorry, but there's ways and means of being heard without going down that route of, as it says, seeking attention all the time, because that's all it is. And I just feel people who are like that, I feel very sad for them, because I think you're never truly happy and all you do is want to bring people down, and no, I'm not about that. So I am so sorry, but I am very happy that you are out of that, my lovely. There's nothing worse than being surrounded by just the toxic vileness, and my inbox is always open, you know that, but I hope you've managed to, if you need to speak to someone, there's plenty of help out there, and try not to let the absolute cretin who done that have any more of your time in life, my lovely, because no. No, no, no. One of my lovelies says, controlling all the time. Just walk away and they don't change. I was in one for 8 years. And when you think, right, so if someone is narcissistic, you might think it would show at the beginning. Sometimes it doesn't. I always feel that narcissists are like, they're kind of like a Gemini in essence. Geminis, we're very direct. You know, we have the good side, we have the bad side. We're very direct. Whereas like a narcissist will have two sides, I feel. They will have the side that is almost the falseness, like they pretend to do stuff for the goodness of you. They pretend to care about and want to do stuff because it concerns you or it betters you, when actually there is always a hidden agenda behind that, and there is always a motive, and there's always a reason. Like nothing I feel is ever done with the goodness of a heart with a narcissist. There's always a hidden agenda, and there's always like a goal or a target or a reaction that they want, and I don't feel that that is the way to live life, to be perfectly honest. If everyone lived like that, what a whole toxic world would be in. And I mean, if you find yourself in situations like that, it's easier said than done, but please just try and like get out, because it does nothing but bring down mental, physical, emotional health. It can make you question yourself, question your values, and what do I do? Or it's very controlling, and it almost turns into they want you to depend on them, and they want you to feel like, oh, actually we are doing it for you and we're thinking of you, when actually that's not the case. Because half the time if narcissists were like that, they wouldn't do or say the stuff that they done before. So yeah, I'm so glad that you're out in it now, my lovely. And as I say, the controlling, that is a big factor, because a narcissist likes to be in control, and if that control's not there, they panic. If things start to come out of routine, or they ask a question, or they're used to something and then it doesn't go that way, they panic, because they want that order back. No matter whether it's a good order or a bad order, they want that control back. And unfortunately, you can't have control of people's lives all the way through, I'm afraid. I think they can't accept that maybe they're not needed, or like they're not depended upon. And they have to accept that. But I'm so glad that you're out, my lovelies. Okay, one of my lovelies has sent in, my father is a narcissist. Myself, my mum and my sister have lived with him our whole life, and he is a nasty man. My advice for living with a narcissist is don't give them what they want. Don't argue back, just say okay. Ignore their ranting and let them blow off the steam, but don't give it any attention. So this is what it come back to with the roundup of it, that they want that attention, they want that retaliation in essence, they want the confrontation, they want the arguments, they want the why are you being like this, because in essence they will feel that it is all about them. and a situation where they may feel they're potentially losing grip of it, they can turn it around and put it back on them by being over dramatic, to put it quite bluntly. I'm sorry that you've had to grow up within that, with yourself, your mother and your sister, but in essence it's not a great way to learn to live, but you've learned the characteristics of it. And as you say, your advice is don't argue back, just okay, let them have their rant, because I think sometimes in life giving no reaction is better than giving a reaction. And I think, as you say, they want that reaction. They want it to be, oh, me, yeah. Then they will probably more than likely want to turn it around and be the victim. And that, I find, is another thing within narcissism, that they will have their outbursts. They will do and say and act however they want. And then when they've actually sat down and thought, they then want to backtrack potentially and try to make amends, but not. There's still always that hidden agenda with narcissists. Don't be fooled, guys. If you know someone and they are narcissist and then the next day they're like, oh, you know what? No, there's always a hidden agenda. There is always a reason. There's always a calculation. And the fact, as you say, you let them rant away, don't even pay any attention, because I think it will come back to bite them on the tush. I'm not going to lie. With a narcissist, it's almost like they throw their toys out the pram. They will say and act and do whatever they want. And then what they will do is they'll sit back and they'll think, I didn't get the reaction I wanted then. Okay, let's try something else. And when they still don't get that reaction, it will then go to something else. And I think sometimes it will just escalate and escalate. And you think, where is the line? Like, I don't feel narcissists have a line. There's nothing that they think, actually, no, that's not off bars. They will just think in their own world that they can say whatever they want. They can do whatever they can want. They can act however they want. Which, we are in a freedom of country where freedom of speech and act as you please. But when the repercussions come back and you might have shot yourself in the foot with it, you would only have yourself to blame. And there's no way of coming out of it. There's no way of talking about it. There's no way of trying to make amends. Damage will be done, whether it's through actions, words, whatever the situation may be. But yeah, I think with narcissists, I have no time, no patience, no energy. And I'm very quick. If a narcissist wants to try and bring me down, I will call them out. Or you know what? The best response is no response. Because if you feed into that retaliation, that's what they get the kick out of. As I say, it's that personality where they want it to be like the world revolving around them. If you literally are just, they will get bored enough, and actually they'll probably get more agitated. But that's where you don't know where the line is, because they will escalate and escalate, and who knows where the line is with the narcissism. But I am sorry that you're having to go through that, my lovely. I really, really am. One of my lovelies says, hi sweetheart, this is my story. It just so happens that I had an awful, almost 4 years of being stalked by a narcissist. I met what I thought was a kindly woman and we became friends. It started very well, but she was soon declaring her love for me and that we was meant to be together. I was married to my husband at the time. A long story short, we had to move our house to get away. Even though I changed my number 3 times, she kept finding me. My life became a living nightmare and I still don't feel safe completely. I feel a fool for trusting her, as she was charming at first but soon become very abusing and vile. She was also an alcoholic and drug addict too. Wow. See, this is the thing, guys. I feel that narcissism is looked at more for men. People will see the personality of it, like certain aspects, and will think, well, it's got to be a man. It isn't. Narcissism runs in no matter what gender, race, anything like that. And for this, as you say, I could not, well, to be stalked by someone, first off, that is an obsession on their behalf. That is nothing to do with you. That is something within their mind of which they can't stop. So whether that be, you know, when people watch their favourite programme, like it's an obsession, they have to. People have to have a specific coffee or drink in the morning. That's their obsession. People watch things, or people stalk social medias. That's their thing. It is an obsession. Like, for me, I think if no one brings value to my life, so if I had a person and they brought no value, they brought no positive energy, anything like that, go. Like, I have no time for that. And I have got very, I wouldn't say ruthless, but I have got a lot more actually no, because you can get upper hand in circumstances without actually having to retaliate. And for me now, because I know there's various people stalking my social media, so I made the conscious decision just to block the accounts. I found out who the accounts were and it's blocked. Because I think if you're not bothered by someone, or someone aggravates you so much and all they can do is leave, say for my example, leave shitty comments or want to stick their beak in, no, I don't need that. You can go away. It's irrelevant. And I feel that that is the best way to deal with them, to be honest, because if you cut them off, there's no way of them trying to get into you. I mean, we're in a day and age now where you can create hundreds of social media profiles, but I think if you're that obsessed with someone, a situation, anything like that, it's not healthy, especially if you're just stalking and obsessing over that person to be horrible, to like try and find a fault and try and find a problem and try and bring them down. Like, de nada. No. I cannot believe you had to move home, my lovely. That is very, very shocking. And the fact that she kept finding you after changing your number. I wonder, you can reply back to email or however you want to do it. Did you actually, because I would say that is a form to be prosecuted on. The fact that she was still finding your number and you had to move home and then she started becoming very abusive and vile, I definitely feel that that is something that you should take up with the police. That is an offence. Because another thing I feel, narcissists, whether it's verbal, written, spoken, message, like online, all of that is prosecutable offences now. And this is why when I see, so you guys know I'm not a stranger to having bad comments. And I will deal with them my way. I give a simple response, whatever the comment may be, and that's that. However, there have been times when you get comments through and you can, if you wanted to, escalate it. You can escalate it to the police because it's a form of trolling. If you've got people who are within jobs of service, charities, within childcare, education, counselling, anything like that, anything that is a public focused role, if you was to then report a comment and say that person was in any of them sectors and it was to come back to say their IP address, that is a prosecutable offence. And not only that, your employer would then be notified. And it's most cases nowadays, if you're seen as trolling or harassing someone online, that is a sackable offence and you can actually get a criminal record for it. And that's the thing, I think people don't think of the bigger picture. Like, yes, you can vent and say what you want and do all of that jazz, but you have to be educated to know of the possible outcomes. And the possible outcomes wouldn't just be a response back from that person, that could be a criminal record. And then you have to think that in their head that they wouldn't be able to justify nor realise what they've done. They would still have an excuse. They could be standing in front of a judge and they would say, but that's my opinion. Yes, but the way you went about it, that's not the way that you do things. And yeah, there is a lot of things now. So if anyone is within that sector or you're in those situations, like people who leave comments and that, you don't know their IPNs. But it only takes one email to get that sent off and for someone to be tracking the IPNs. And if, say, it was a continuous thing, because the thing is, people think, oh, well, I do this account gets blocked, I'll make a new account. That's fine. You can make all these accounts, but they all come from the same IPN address. And then what would happen is when they look into the IPN addresses, they would be able to see the accounts that have been dissolved. And if you've got 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 20 accounts that are dissolved, and all of them accounts, when they look back on the history, have literally just been to troll people, you look at it, it's not a pretty thing. And it can be a very huge thing nowadays, because as we all know, like, the laws are changing a lot more with social media and trolling and harassment, because it is getting far too more common. And sometimes the outcomes with these trolls and the bullies and that is, it's not a nice outcome. So there is a lot more preventions in place. But yeah, I just think, So I would like to know whether you actually went to the police about this, or whether it was something that she could have been. I definitely feel like this is something that could have been prosecuted for. Oh God, almost just knocked me drink over. But yeah, I'm glad that I hope you're finally on the mend now. You're away from that area and away from that, and hopefully she hasn't got your number anymore. One of my lovelies says, I had to think hard about this because I know what toxic is like. As you know, we've talked about my much younger life. We've had many a chats. My older self made a choice to not be like that, to bring my children into this world knowing they were loved unconditionally and have a husband who is the same way. A narcissist does not show love. They don't care about what they say and do, nor feelings, no feelings whatsoever. Sad as it is, some are born that way. I think it's in every one of us potentially. In life, there are two paths you can choose which one to use. You're the only one who can make that choice. If someone around is toxic, ask yourself, do they actually bring anything good in your life? And if the answer is no, cut them out. And as soon as you do, you realise how much better life is without them. Hope it makes sense. Love you loads. Love you loads too. I am very much like that. So I have a very, I would say, strong skin, like thick skin and strong resilience, to the point where if people say, for example, leave hate comments on that, I'm like, yeah, okay, you're not going to please everyone. It doesn't affect me. However, there could be other people out there who, on other platforms, for example, who might get bad comments and they don't know how to handle it. And I think before anyone presses that send button on a troll comment, you have to really think about your actions and what potentially could happen. How would you feel knowing that by you venting something happened to someone, or it caused something? Like, they are the bigger pictures that unfortunately it doesn't come into their mind, because I feel they're not at that level to think outside the box or to think of the broader scale. I love the fact, as you say, you've brought your children up not to be like that. That's the best way to be, I think. If narcissists bring up narcissists, it's just a terrible, terrible pattern. And as you say, you are the only one in that choice. And I'm very much like you. So if someone around is toxic, if you're not positive or bringing anything to my life, you go. I had my therapy session last week, and what she picked up on was, she said, you're very independent. Like, there's no question. You're like, if I want to do this, I'm doing this on my own or with someone, it doesn't matter. And she said, it's almost like, so I feel I have a very good detachment system, which she has told me is not a good thing. She put me in my place and was like, Shannon, we need to look into this. She said, because it's not a good thing, my darling. And I'm like, but why? Like, I have the self-respect. I know what I'm worth, and I know what I will and won't accept. And if I won't accept that, then goodbye. Like, I'm not entertaining you, whether it be for peacekeeping, whether it be to make things better. No, I'm not about that. I know my worth. I know how I am, and that's how that's going to be. And she said, it's almost like when I have my detachment, she said, you're very confident and proud to say, nah, cut them off. I said, I am, see, this is probably wrong. I am proud of the detachments that I can do. As you all know, me and Dada had a very difficult relationship growing up. And I didn't speak to him for 5 years, like my own dad. So I think if I can be that cutthroat with direct family, friends and extended family, it doesn't bother me. Like, people come and go in your life, and I think I don't take disrespect or anything like that from immediate family. So I sure as hell ain't taking it from someone who A, may not even be related to me, and B, someone who is irrelevant. But she wants to work on that, because she says we need to now break down that you don't have to do things on your own. You have a partner. And I'm like, yeah, but I still do things on my own. Like, it don't matter. I'll go out. Like, if Dan didn't want to come out, I'd be like, okay, then I'm popping out. And she was like, no, but you need to be socially happy. And I'm like, yeah, I'm happy. I don't have to be social. Like, I'm not very a sociable person. You know me, guys. Like, I work, I do YouTube, I come back. It probably don't seem like that, because me and Dan are out an awful lot, but it's never in like groups. We're just at half the time walking around London doing about 25,000 steps, trying to find a few little quirky food places, to be perfectly honest. But yes, I need to apparently work on that. So that's what we're going to talk about in our next thing. But I completely agree with you. Like, if they're not being positive, if you're not bringing anything good to my life, adios, ta-ta for now, see you later, gone. You more, my lovely. One of my lovely says, I don't have any thoughts on this. I'm very happy in my marriage, and we go away on a nice holiday in June. I love that. Good for you. Where are you going? Let me know down below. One of my lovely says, hi, beautiful. I've had one, and by heck, he was a true narcissist. If you type narcissist into Google, his face would come up. that doesn't sound good, does it, darling? We don't even need him in the lives right now. When he done wrong, he'd always turned it onto me. And I used to think maybe I did deserve. There's DV in this, guys. The cruel words thrown at me until I broke. You know something? He was the only narcissist that I allowed into my life. He actually turned it around on me that I made him cheat on me. And sweet Mary, Jesus and wee donkey, he was my last. Amen to that. Sending love to yourself, Mama G and Dan. And it's beautiful to see you smile from the heart with Dan, and you can see the love you have from him. Deserve your happiness you're having and will continue to have. Thank you very much. That's a lovely message. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Mwah, you know who you are. I am so glad that you're out of that. There is never an excuse, or you are never to blame for DV. Honestly, I'm like, I can't sit here and say I've never experienced something like that, but I've never experienced something like that to the scales that you can do. I would say that in, say, my previous relationships, it hasn't been unknown to have a bit of a scuffle, to maybe be manhandled a bit, let's just say it like that. And the thing with me is I am very proud and I know how to stand up for myself. I know skills and ways. I was put in mixed martial arts when I was younger for about 3-4 years. Karate, I got up to the one just before I ran. I'd done that for a few years. So I was brought up to stand up for myself, and I would never allow myself to be like that. So if you get, we're all human here, if you get into an argument with your partner, sometimes things can get escalated, sometimes things can get thrown, you grapple and everything like that. But I would always give as good as I got, and obviously I don't have the strength of other men. And sometimes, like, you do lose on some of the things. My thing for me was, if say anything like that happened, I have no upper body strength, okay guys? This is what my PT is trying to work with me now. He's trying to make me like a strong woman. And I can't lie, I'm really enjoying it, but I'm nowhere near that. My power is in my legs. So if I ever felt I was in a situation, or I was in a predicament or a position, anything like that, that I couldn't get out of, I would somehow try and work it with my legs, because that was my way. That was like my strength for me to quickly try and get out. But it's not always the way. And say, for example, looking back of, I don't know how you would call it, maybe stature of previous partners to my partner Dan. Number one, I'd have to jump up to reach him, but there would never be anything like that. He is honestly the gentlest soul, and we have jokes and like we might like squeeze off, but it would never be anything intentional. And he's always said I would never be like that, I'd never do anything like that. Like, I don't condone it, I don't like waver it off. If someone said to him, oh, something happened last night with my partner and da-da, he wouldn't condone, he wouldn't, no, that's not what you do. And I respect that, because unfortunately I don't think that's something that's maybe instilled in the younger generation now. I do feel sometimes what you see in films and what they may play on video games and what they see out and about and on the news, it kind of gives a false perception as to how you treat each other. And I'm not just saying it seems to be more men, because there is women too. And relating back to the one before where you said you were stalked by a lady, I think there's something on Netflix come out, Stalker Lover Killer, or Lover Stalker Killer, and it's from a woman who stalked a guy. So I'm actually looking forward, I might put that on my playlist actually, because that is something you see from a different perspective. But yeah, it's not always like that. And I think it's hard until you're in them situations, but it is hard. And as I say, if anyone is in situations like that, there is so many ways to try and get help. And I know sometimes people say it's not that easy and it's hard. Like, I see so many things of like the code words, or like, I remember there was one before, you'd like call Domino's and you'd ask for a certain thing, and like they would know that code and they think you're ordering it. But there was a lot of stuff out there, and obviously there's helplines to talk to people, or of course the police. But yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that. But I'm so glad that he's out of your life, because you never deserve that. And as you say, sweet Mary Jesus and wee donkey, he was the last. Thank goodness he was away. But hope you're well and sending you lots of love, my lovely. Right, ending it on this one. Hi Shannon, Mama G and Dan. Not quite narcissistic, but very close to it. My sister is borderline narcissistic with me. It's not a very healthy relationship with her, and it's all down to another member of the family and the circumstances leading up to it. Details would take you all day to read, but a brief outcome is she'll ignore me if we pass one another along the road. Doesn't invite me to family get-togethers. Sends me very toxic messages on WhatsApp. This has stopped now, as after I told her to stop demanding stuff of me. Too right. I decided a while ago that, for the sake of my mental health, I would distance myself from all the bad stuff. It has caused some awkwardness between my son and daughter-in-law and myself, but we are all close enough to not let it spoil the great relationship between us. Good. I have tried on several occasions to try and sort things out between my sister and myself, but she's so stubborn and makes out to the family I'm the one who's causing the problems. The question is, do I keep trying or do I simply cut ties with her? Sending lots of love to you. Lots of love to you back. Right. I feel this is a question for Mama G. I mean, if you saw the moments with Mama G, there was a question very similar on this, and Mum's answer was cut them off. A little bit of our backstory was Mum has a sister. When my nan passed, tensions obviously get high and people's responsibilities change in essence, and people say a few things and things were said and actions were done, and myself and my mum, we cut contact there and then. I think the last time we saw them or spoke to them was at my nan's funeral, and my nan has been passed 10 years this year. So yeah, maybe this is why. See, my therapist saying, oh, we need to establish this trauma. It's not trauma. This is the environment I've been brought up with. My mum and dad are very cutthroat. There's been incidents with Dada where family members, and I'm just like, it's very cutthroat. And I think it's all to do with like respect and pride. If people think something's not right, we are quite stubborn. I can't lie. I'm a Gemini. I'm especially stubborn. And I can't lie. It's like, no, this is how it's going to be. If I feel someone's taking the mickey, I'm like, nah, ta-da, bye-bye, adios. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. So I feel in this thing, so as I say, guys, I am not by any means anyone qualified to give experience. I'm not a therapist. I'm just a 28-year-old sitting in my room having a chit chat with you guys. If that was me, to ignore you if you passed along the road, that is just, I'm sorry, that's pathetic. You're grown adults. If she wants to be like that, good riddance. The next thing, she'll probably be crossing the road. She doesn't even want to be on the same road for us. Let her have that. That seems to be her issues. Doesn't invite me to the family get-together. So that for me is like she's just pure isolating you. So why would you even want to be around someone like that? Like, I don't think, no, it's not worth your time, my darling. Sending you toxic messages, I'm glad it has stopped though, and told her to stop demanding stuff of me. This is the thing, so with narcissists, everything has to be on their terms. If they want to do something, if they want to go somewhere, if they want to say something, if they want to, no! And if it's not done on their terms, then they become abusive. And I think, hold on a minute, we're all grown adults in this grown wide world. You're not going to get your way all the time, I'm afraid. And you can't throw your toys out of the pram every time that you didn't. So it's swings and roundabouts. But yes, I am glad that you've distanced yourself. And as you say, it has caused a little bit of awkwardness, but you guys are not letting it affect your relationship, which is great. For me personally, so you can have, this is the devil's advocate, this is the Gemini in me. The good of me would be saying, give it a couple more goes. Because I think only then will you know, after however many times you try, they will get to a point where you'll be like, I've actually had enough, like I can't do it anymore. The bad Gemini is like, cut off. Do not waste your positive energy around that. You don't need that. It's clear to see that this person is not wanting to be involved, not wanting to entertain, always still trying to be the problem. You don't need that in your life. You're a lovely, lovely person, and you definitely don't need that in your life, because it's only going to bring you down. And what for? Why would you give them the satisfaction? Why would you even give them the satisfaction? And I think, my lovely, that just goes to sum up with this video. Narcissists will, unfortunately, it is their way or the highway. I think that should be the quote under a narcissist. It's their way or the highway. And if it doesn't go their way, then it's not great. And they may lash out. They may turn to other forms of trying to, in essence, be heard. Just don't entertain it. I think with a narcissist, the best thing you can do, as you say earlier on, don't entertain it, or potentially just cut it off. Be like, ta-ta, adios. And you're probably thinking, Shan, ta-ta, because you took up enough of me day already. My lovelies, that is another Scandals with Shan. I do hope that you've enjoyed. I don't know what background I'm going to have on this yet. I don't know. We're going to have a little look whether, I don't know what it'll be. I was thinking, so last month it was all to do with, like, what did we think was going to happen? So it's kind of like a spacey thing. I actually didn't know what I want this one to do. I thought I'd put the skull cushion in because kind of like we're talking about narcissists and a little bit like morbid and just nah, not required. So I'm thinking maybe I might just do, we'll do like fire and flames and pew, pew, pew. I've got no idea, guys. It could just be me sitting here with the green screen and a shadow behind me, because I don't actually know how this is going to work with the shadow. Oh, this is going to be very interesting. If not, I've probably really wasted your day. And you're sitting there thinking, I've literally just watched her in front of a green screen. Guys, if you did enjoy the video, you know what to do. Hit that thumbs up and subscribe down below. Leave us a comment whether you've had any involvement with narcissists or anything that you feel had to deal with them or how to treat the situations. Because I like these videos to be like a little sharing platform. Any negativity is not needed. If you are a narcissist watching this, you're probably not really happy with watching this video. And you probably, hopefully, would have clicked off at the beginning. You probably wouldn't have even clicked on the title. But if you have, I think that's something called obsession. And if it offends you that much, I mean, please, adios, I wish you well. But there is no need to watch and stalk the channel, because if anything, you're only going to wind yourself up more. For me, if I see something or I watch something that I don't like, I turn it off. I couldn't be bothered to leave the comments. I couldn't be bothered to then have to keep going back and watching it. No. Have like that respect in essence and just take yourself away from the situation, because all that will be happening is people will just remove you from the situation. Simple as. But yes, guys, take care, stay safe as always, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.